90,000 hotel rooms at Caesars 8 resorts were empty throughout the summer. A period that should have been the brightest time for Sin City. Is this the recovery future that CEOs are talking about? Those boom years, when every room was sought after like gold, are perhaps now just a story of the past. Ironically, the city that never sleeps is sinking into the longest nightmare in history. Caesars' revenue decreased by over 10%, profits fell by 12%, and over 90,000 room nights were left vacant, as if abandoned. CEO Tom Reeg still assures that Las Vegas will recover by 2026, but the residents here and the thousands of employees who have had their shifts cut can see nothing but a bleak future. Perhaps what's slowly dying in Vegas isn't just tourism, but the illusion of this city's immortality. Caesars' journey is now the clearest reflection of how the light of Vegas is slowly fading. And in this video, we'll delve into what's really happening behind those 90,000 empty rooms, to understand why this isn't just a tourism crisis, but could be the end of the big win dream that millions once believed in. Perhaps the past 9 nightmarish months haven't been enough to awaken Las Vegas CEOs to the fact that the once brilliant travel dream is fading, and there's no real bright spot left. If you needed a symbol for the first domino to fall in the chain of collapses on the Strip, Caesars Entertainment would be the perfect example. When we talk about the downfall of Caesars today, no one sees it as a sensationalized story to attract viewers anymore. Because the place once hailed as the strongest empire in Las Vegas has now become the prime example of a legend fading into the past. After being removed from the S&P 500 and recording a 3.7% year-over-year decline, Caesars continued to report a dismal financial quarter. Occupancy rates fell 5%, average room rates decreased 6%, Las Vegas revenue dropped 10.3%, and profits declined 12%. And so, millions of dollars gradually vanished under the Nevada desert heat, along with the silent departure of hundreds of thousands of visitors. Nevertheless, CEO Tom Reeg remained optimistic. We knew this was going to be a soft summer, but Las Vegas is still recovering, heading toward a brighter 2026. A brighter future for 90,000 empty hotel rooms and a $12.3 billion debt that hangs like the sword of Damocles over the company's head. It seems that positivity can sometimes also become a toxic dose. For the first time, the magic of Las Vegas didn't work. America's greatest bookmaker is losing on the very bet they created. A Caesars maintenance worker who has been with the company for over 20 years shared, "Caesars still displays Roman statues, but to me, that empire collapsed a long time ago." The phrase is short, but enough to capture the spirit of the entire city, a Las Vegas losing its vitality within its own iconic symbol. Once considered the ace in the hole of post-pandemic America, it is now just a balance sheet with desperate statistics and debt. Beside empty rooms, even casinos are in deep decline. Performance at the gaming tables declined, further dragging down Caesars' net profit. An empire that once thrived on luck is now losing because of its own game. In an effort to retain visitors, Caesars participated in the fabulous 5-day sale campaign launched by LVCVA at the end of September, offering record low prices and unprecedented promotional vouchers. Bookings increased in the short term, but it was just an artificial boost. When the campaign ended, the situation was back to square one. It's like pouring water onto hot sand. It soaks in quickly, but disappears before it can cool the ground. Meanwhile, prices on the Strip continue to escalate. The resort fee increased to $65, 2 burgers cost nearly $60, and in September alone, approximately 300,000 tourists chose not to visit Las Vegas. Some major resorts like the Mirage remain closed until 2028, leading to an increasing number of vacant rooms across the market. However, while the market was spiraling into decline and thousands of employees were forced to cut shifts, Tom Reeg still insisted, "Las Vegas is still a strong market. You can see Paul McCartney for $500 or Donny Osmond for just $60 and even rent a room for $29 right on the Strip." A statement that sounds confident, but behind it is a defensive mindset. Because when a CEO has to resort to low prices to prove viability, it means he has accepted that trust has been damaged. Vegas has never collapsed due to a lack of light, but only when that light is no longer enough to make people certain whether they are still in a dream or a nightmare. And today, Vegas, or Caesar's Palace, is no longer a city of illusions, but merely a giant casino gambling with its own future. Las Vegas was once built on dreams, a place where everyone had a chance to win, where luck was something anyone could buy with a strong belief and a few small cents. But by 2025, it seems the corporations on the Strip have forgotten the core lesson. Vegas isn't for the ultra-rich. It's for making ordinary people believe they still have a chance. The underlying cause of the decline the Caesars are facing is very clearly expressed in the words of CEO Tom Reeg himself. The $10 water bottle story has come to an end. A statement that serves as an indictment, reflecting the saturation in the image of forced luxury, when even corporate leaders are facing a wave of backlash over excessive costs. Caesars currently operates 9 major resorts on the Strip, from Caesar's Palace, Paris Las Vegas, Flamingo, Harrah's, Horseshoe, The Link to Planet Hollywood. But overall, both occupancy rates and average daily rate, ADR, decreased. This is no longer seasonal fluctuation, but a sign of system-wide fatigue, as the profit model based on resort fees and service surcharges has become saturated. Las Vegas remains the golden goose in the eyes of CEOs, but it must also be acknowledged that weak demand is no longer a temporary phenomenon. Promotional campaigns like the fabulous 5-day sale only help increase bookings in the short term, while actual spending on dining and entertainment continues to decline. Vegas continues to advertise rooms, but no longer has enough money to buy back the trust of tourists. That picture is the paradox of success. The harder you try to maintain an elegant image, the higher the costs are driven. As prices increase to prove status, the middle class, the group of customers generating real cash flow, withdraws even further. And so, Caesars, MGM, Wynn, they are all selling the illusion of luxury to a world that is slowly waking up from a nightmare. Profit margins fell sharply, not because of a lack of VIP customers, but because the VIP customer group itself also began to be more cautious, while the general public had lost faith. Perhaps Vegas should see a counselor for the most accurate diagnosis of Vegas's illness today: blind confidence. Corporations still believe they can keep Las Vegas afloat with a luxury brand strategy, but they forget that Las Vegas has never lived on luxury. It lives on the masses. Inside Caesar's Palace, the lights are still on, the music is still playing, but the gap between the real experience and the perceived value is as vast as the horizon. People still go to Vegas, but they go to complain, to be disillusioned, not to enjoy themselves. And when value is replaced by price, Vegas loses its soul. The people who built this empire are no longer here. Only executives remain, trying to maintain the glory with balance sheets and marketing slogans. Ultimately, it was their own confidence, that the market was still strong, that Vegas couldn't fall, that blinded them to the fact that they were becoming the ultimate gamblers at a giant betting table, pouring their city's very soul into their bets. And if greed has become a business model, who will be brave enough to stop before everything collapses? Each person will have a different answer, but with thousands of tourists no longer visiting Vegas, they have also come to their own conclusions. What were their actions after that? Can Vegas lure them back to the fun of the past? Let's find the answer with us in the next part. They used to be Las Vegas's most loyal customers. Middle-aged men and women who drove hundreds of miles from California, Arizona, or the Bay Area to spend a weekend relaxing, eating at buffets, playing a few hands of cards, and then returning home with a smile. They are the people who built the foundation of the entertainment capital of the world. But now, They are quietly abandoning it themselves. On social media forums and groups, their tone has changed. One writer said, "We have money, but we don't want to be treated like fools." Another person said, "Thunder Valley was packed, while Vegas was empty. They'd rather leave the room empty than lower the price." Those laments don't come from poverty, but from the hurt in the hearts of middle-class Americans, the group that once believed Vegas was where they belonged. They once brought their belief in the American dream to this city, believing that even for just one night, they could live like millionaires. But when a $10 bottle of water and a $65 resort fee became symbols of luxury, they began to realize they were no longer welcome. One comment stated bluntly, "Vegas is now only for whales. This city doesn't need us." And so, the middle class began to resist in silence. Not by protesting, not by anger, but by opening your wallet and turning your back. They chose casinos in Reno, Laughlin, or local casinos in Arizona. They diverted their travel savings to restaurants, small trips, or staying home with family. For them, Vegas isn't worth the 8-hour drive just to be charged extra. This is the psychological migration of Americans age 55 plus, the highest spending and most loyal customer group in the US tourism industry. They didn't disappear, they just stopped believing in that light. And as they retreated, the entire revenue structure of Las Vegas, which relied 80% on mass tourists, began to falter. This resistance is quiet but persistent, and perhaps more dangerous than any financial crisis. Because when a generation that made Vegas what it is decides to turn away, no advertising campaign is enough to bring them back. When those who once saw Vegas as a reward in life now see it as a test of patience, will those neon lights be enough to keep them there? And if the middle class, the backbone of America, is silently resisting, what will be left for the city built on their laughter? Las Vegas is burning brighter than ever, but it's a fire that's slowly consuming its own soul. On the surface, the city is still brimming with billion-dollar events. A Formula One racetrack, the .6 billion sphere superstructure, and a series of lavish festivals exclusively for the super rich. Corporations like Caesars, MGM, and Wynn promote these mega projects as proof of revival, as if simply relighting the desert will bring everything back to normal. But if you take a step back, you'll see a bizarre paradox. 90,000 rooms were available in the same season that F1 cars drove through under bright lights, while thousands of locals cut back on work hours or lost their jobs. A sour commenter, "Vegas is now full of billionaires, no longer for civilians." Indeed, Formula One 2023 once caused the average hotel room price to exceed $1,600 USD night. Grandstand tickets range from $2,000 to $10,000 USD, and many roads on the strip were blocked weekly. When the event ended, short-term revenue increased, but the number of common visitors decreased by more than 15%, and many small businesses around the area recorded a 40% drop in sales. Vegas is brighter, but no longer for the masses. Sphere, the eye of Vegas, is also another illusion. Huge multi-billion-dollar LED display promoted as symbol of the new era. But below it, surrounding souvenir shops and eateries reported a 20 to 30% drop in revenue because of the number of visitors not enough to cover operating costs. A waiter said, "Sphere light shines through the sky, but not my rent bill." Caesars and corporations still choose to continue injecting capital into the iconic. Instead of overcoming the original problems, excessively high rental prices, unstable staffing, and the visitor experience being pushed into a spiral of surcharges, they are trying to apply makeup to the cracks instead of repairing the foundation. When everything is brightly lit, the darkness is even more recognizable. Stores are empty, shows are cancelled because they don't sell enough tickets, and employees only have half shifts left. Million-dollar events now only have the aesthetic effect of making Vegas look busy, while the soul of the city is empty. When a city only knows how to light up to prove that it is still alive, Is that light burning up the remaining soul? And if Vegas now only exists for billionaires, who will still believe in the dream of being born from ordinary people's coins? There is a paradox that is silently suffocating Las Vegas. The more it tries to reduce prices to attract tourists, the more it loses its true value. Caesars Entertainment admitted that the average room price has decreased by 6%, but the number of guests still does not return. It's like a person is gradually sinking into quicksand. The more struggling the deeper it sinks. Travel experts call this value regression trap, as continuous promotion efforts cause tourists to gradually form new expectations. It will be even cheaper if I wait for more. And so, every time the price is reduced to stimulate demand, businesses have to increase resort fees, service fees, or food prices to compensate for. Making visitors feel lightly cheated by a closed circle, discount, lose trust, drops deeper than, and loses even more. Caesars is not a single case. While Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, LVCVA, launched the fabulous 5-day sale program to promote the message Vegas is still worth it, results in only pulling a wave of short-term bookings. After that, revenues slowed down again. That temporary effect is like injecting adrenaline into an exhausted body. That helps you stand up for a few minutes, but cannot be saved from a chronic disease. CEO Tom Reeg called this past summer soft summer and believes that winter will recover. But that kind of prediction sequence has become a familiar refrain. Every year soft summer, every year winter recovery. That shows a worrying reality. Vegas no longer has a real growth cycle. The city is living in the illusion of a next recovery that no one knows when it will come. That loop drops in price to survive, then increases in price to survive, is causing the city to lose both profit and trust. When a business can only live on promotions, it is no longer a business, which is a systematic request for help. If Vegas had to reduce prices to sell itself, how much real value would be left behind that flashy layer? And when every strategy is just repeating the same cycle of failure, who will be the first to be brave enough to break it? As 90,000 hotel rooms became vacant, thousands of workers in the service industry also lost their hours or had their shifts cut. Many people have to accept working half shifts with a reduced salary of 30 to 40%, just to keep their names on the employee list. A janitor shared on the local forum. Caesar's Palace is still lit, but our floor is dark. The whole hallway has no guests, only the sound of vacuum cleaners and the smell of chemicals. Vegas has never been operated by just casinos, it lives by the silent hands behind. From night shift security staff to hotel chefs, from shuttle bus drivers to cocktail servers, they are all blood vessels Light Farming Strip. But now, those blood vessels are drying up. According to some local labor reports, the Las Vegas entertainment hotel industry has lost more than 10,000 stable jobs in the past year, not to mention the thousands of seasonal workers who were not recalled after the summer. Caesars and corporations remain reassured that this is only a temporary adjustable. But for workers, temporary means having to choose between rent and medicine. A restaurant employee shared, "When tourists don't come back, we don't just lose customers, we lose our whole life." Meanwhile, the cost of living in Nevada continues to increase. The average rent in the Las Vegas Valley area has exceeded $1,900 a month. Electricity and water are up 15% over the previous year, and many workers have to move to remote areas or live temporarily in cars. Ironically, the same people who served the American dream to tourists now become victims of that dream. Major hotels still spent millions of dollars maintaining vacant resorts, but did not raise wages for frontline employees for 2 years. A few people were invited back to work on lower incomes than before the pandemic, They no longer believe in the promise that Vegas will return. With the neon lights still on, maybe it's time for Las Vegas to wonder, who is that light for? For the guests who left, or for those who are still silently cleaning to keep the dream alive? If there are no more people working behind, can the lights of Las Vegas still light themselves? And as workers, the true soul of the city is gradually becoming a ghost. Is anyone brave enough to say that Vegas is okay? Las Vegas is standing in the middle of the strangest fork in its history. Recent reports show that the tourism growth rate has barely inched up by 1%, while hotel operating costs, electricity and taxes have increased continuously. The city that was once seen as the post-pandemic miracle is now shrinking. Companies cut advertising, delay new projects, and suspend hiring. The roads were once crowded with people, but now only small groups of tourists quickly took photos and then left. No one can deny, Vegas is still beautiful, still vibrant. But that's the beauty of a place that doesn't know it's dying. Like an artist who was once great, still standing under the spotlight, is just the audience has left. Corporations still promise recovery in 2026, still talks about strong market, but no one dares to answer the question. If 2025 is a recovery period, why are 90,000 rooms still empty? The truth is, Las Vegas is no longer in control of its destiny. It depends on the labor market, on the price of petrol, on consumer sentiment, on political fluctuations, and the cost of living which it cannot govern itself. Every factor that used to be cheap, advantage, convenience, feeling release, is disappearing. The heartbreaking truth is that the Vegas tourism industry is being destroyed by its own formula. The more it expands, the more it builds, the more it lights up, the more the city dilutes its own value. Guests no longer come to live the dream. They come to verify whether that dream still exists or not. And when they left, they brought answers with them. If Vegas' brightest light today was just a curtain on a dying city, who would dare turn off the lights to start over? And is there any miracle big enough to relight the extinguished faith in those 90,000 empty rooms? Las Vegas used to be where every dream started with a ray of light and where those dreams often ended in silence. Today, the light is still bright, but it is no longer enough to cover the cracks. 90,000 empty rooms is just a number, but behind that are thousands of lives. Workers, tourists, residents are all stuck in a city that doesn't know when it lost its soul. Caesars can continue to talk about recovery. Corporations can light up thousands of new billboards. But the real question remains at the bottom. When Vegas is no longer for everyone, is it still entertainment capital of the world? Or just a mirror reflecting a dead dream? Perhaps the future of Las Vegas will not be shaped by any billionaire or CEO, but by those who once loved this place, who still believe that light only has meaning when it is shined on people. Can a city be saved by light when that light is causing people to no longer see each other? And if Vegas is coming back, then who is it coming back to? People or the numbers on the profit report? If this story makes you think about the future of America, please leave a comment below. Do you think Las Vegas can find its soul again? Don't forget to click like, share and subscribe so that the stories about American Dream and what's left of it continue to be told. The content in this video is compiled from public sources, including business reports, statistical data, and feedback from the public for analytical, commentary, and educational purposes. All information is presented in an effort to ensure accuracy at the time of production, which may, however, change over time and economic context. The video does not represent any organization, business, or political opinion, and is not intended to attack or judge specific individuals, brands, or corporations. Viewers are encouraged to verify the information themselves and see the problem from many different angles. All images, materials, and citations are used in accordance with the fair use principle for non-commercial commentary, illustration, and analysis purposes. If there is any content that unintentionally affects individuals or organizations, please contact the channel for review and appropriate adjustments.